All right. Without any objection, I guess. Good morning. My name is Tim Butler. I'm state representative from the 87th District. I live here in Springfield. Honored to be here with my friend and colleague, our Deputy Republican leader, Tom Demmer, to talk about one of our favorite topics, and that's taxes. 2 years ago, when we look back 2 years ago where we were at, where the governor was pushing his graduated income tax, where Treasurer Frerichs was talking about the fact that we need to tax retirement income. And we look at where we are today, I think it came to very well known that the right thing to do was not pass the graduated income tax and put a lot of uncertainty upon the people of Illinois when it came to what their tax structure was going to be. And we spent a lot of time talking about that 2 years ago. I'm honored to have co-sponsored Representative Demmer's resolution regarding staying away from a retirement tax in Illinois, as I think many of our House Republican colleagues have done that. My oldest sister, when she moved back from Washington State a few years ago, she told me one of the great things, she wasn't happy about her property taxes coming back, but what she said was that one advantage we have in Illinois is the fact that we wouldn't tax her retirement. And taxing retirement income, not taxing retirement income, is one of the advantages we have here in the state of Illinois to try to attract people to the state of Illinois. So honored to be here with Representative Demmer today. Always good to have you back in Springfield, Tom. So I'll turn it over to you for whatever you would like to say.
Thanks, Tim. Good morning, everybody. My name's Tom Demmer, state representative from Dixon and the Republican candidate for Illinois State Treasurer. In 2020, 54% of Illinoisans voted to reject Governor Pritzker's $3.5 billion tax increase. One of his signature initiatives, something they put the entire force of his campaign apparatus in support of, and that Mike Frerichs, treasurer, and many other Democratic officials across the state pushed very, very hard to get voters to agree with. Voters said no. We stand with the majority of Illinois voters who rejected that tax increase, who said enough is enough, who said they didn't trust how their tax dollars were being spent right now, so why should they send more tax dollars to Springfield if they're not happy with the status quo? So here we are today in 2022. Why should we be concerned about this today? Why should we be talking about this again? Well, the fact, I think, is pretty clear. The budget that we're operating under right now, we warned about this when it was being debated. The budget we're operating under right now grew spending from last year to this year by 10%, while revenues are declining. And in the meantime, the governor has used this avalanche of federal bailout cash to cover up and to paper over some of the short-term financial pressures that we're facing. But what are we going to find ourselves with in the near future? Well, that revenue is going to continue to either stagnate or not grow as fast as our spending is. And Governor Pritzker, Treasurer Frerichs, and other Democrats are going to come back and say, well, yet again, we need to ask for another tax increase from Illinois voters. We're standing up today with the majority of Illinoisans to say that should be off the table. The voters have spoken. The people of Illinois have spoken, and we should not be considering further graduated tax amendments or further income tax increases. So there are a couple of things we're doing to show that support and to send a message to Mike Frerichs, to send a message to J.B. Pritzker that further tax hikes should not be on the table. The first is live today on teamdemmer.com. There's a petition where voters can sign up and say whether or not they support a tax on retirement income. That's something that Mike Frerichs during the debate in 2020 said we should have a discussion about. Well, if that discussion is going to happen, we're going to show them that the majority of people say no to taxing retirement income. I stand with the majority of people who oppose that the graduated tax and the tax on retirement income. So today, people can go on to teamdemmer.com and fill out a survey about whether or not they support the tax on retirement income. Second, we also think it's important to remind folks and to show that in the legislature, there continues to be significant opposition to the graduated tax. And so I introduced this year House Resolution 753, dozens of co-sponsors on it, to affirm and to stand with the majority of Illinoisans who rejected that tax in 2020 and say that it shouldn't be considered again. that we should look for ways to tighten our belt, to keep spending growth in check, and not simply set up a situation where a couple short years from now, Democrats are back in front of Illinois voters saying that the only solution is to raise taxes yet again. Enough is enough. We're standing strong with the majority of Illinoisans who agree that enough is enough, and that's what we're talking about here today. A petition for voters to be able to speak their mind, and a resolution showing that there's continued opposition throughout all of the Capitol to this concept yet again. So with that, I'm happy to open it up for questions.
Since this is a campaign-related press conference, I need to ask, where do both of you stand on Senator Bailey's comments about abortion and the Holocaust? It's obviously getting a lot of attention right now.
Well, look, I disagree with Senator Bailey's comments. I don't think the Holocaust should be used as a comparison with anything. But I think, it's important to look at this in a larger context right now. During the primary, the largest supporter of the Bailey campaign were Democrats. Mike Frerichs and his Democratic allies play this game, the same game that we're seeing being played in states all across the country right now. And so I think it's a little hypocritical and disingenuous for them to now be feigning this outrage and this disgust over a candidate that they were supporting during the primary. I think that this is, indicates that they're looking at this like a political game and putting the politics over the policy and the people.
Back on topic, the state's currently running a surplus. It's put over $1 billion into the rainy day fund. What makes you think that retirement income tax is even on the table?
Spending is growing faster than revenues. In the last couple of years, the only reason we've been able to post this improved financial picture is because of a tremendous influx of federal bailout cash. That's a one-time deal. That's not going to continue in the future. But the spending growth is going to continue in the future, and that's going to put us back in a situation where I think, look, Mike Frerichs has been in favor of a graduated tax since at least 2007. I mean, we're talking about a long, long history of year after year after year. Mike Frerichs supported raising taxes on all Illinoisans. I think that as soon as we get through this and those federal bailout dollars have gone, they're going to come back and say, well, we need to raise taxes yet again because our spending has continued to increase.
Are you both endorsing Bailey? I know.
Yeah, I support Republicans. I don't think J.B. Pritzker should be reelected.
What authority does the state treasurer have when it comes to taxes? I know there was a comment in the past that Frerichs had, but what authority would a treasurer have in this case?
Well, look, there's a reason that we elect a treasurer, right? Because the treasurer should be accountable to voters and should advocate for things that a majority of Illinoisans believe in. Beyond the specific constitutional role of the treasurer should be a watchdog, should be an outspoken advocate for responsible financial policies, should be talking about how the decisions we're making today are affecting our fiscal future. I think the treasurer should use that independent authority they have as an elected statewide official to speak up and to advocate on behalf of taxpayers. We haven't seen that from the incumbent, but that's something that I'm running to do.
Do you also think that office should be merged with the comptroller's?
I do. In fact, I've introduced a constitutional amendment to merge the treasurer and comptroller's office together. I think it would help save money for taxpayers, but it would also give some additional authority and ability for the combined office to really be a chief financial officer and to speak for taxpayers.
From Dave Dahl, he wants me to do it in his voice. If we have no retirement tax, why not promote it to retirees? Shout it from the mountaintops.
And that's exactly what we want to do. We have no retirement income tax in the state of Illinois. And in fact, it's long been, as Representative Butler mentioned, it's long been an attractive feature in Illinois. So attractive, in fact, that the state of Iowa just abolished their tax on retirement income in this current year. So they knew the competitive pressures that they were up against. We need more things to give Illinois an advantage, not fewer. We shouldn't take away one of our few advantages.
And another one from Dave. Some say Bailey has said and done things which may turn off voters across the state. How much of a problem will this be for downstate Republicans? This could be for both of you.
Look, I think we're talking about issues that a majority of Illinoisans agree on. There's going to be issues where there's disagreement, certainly, but the things that we're focusing on right now, saying enough is enough on taxes, rejecting a graduated tax, rejecting a retirement tax, these are things that have broad support, and not just from Republicans either. You know, you can't get 54% a vote on something with only one party involved. That was Republicans and independents and Democrats coming together, and I think we're speaking on behalf of the majority of people right now.
Do you think Darren Bailey will be a good governor?
I do. I mean, I think, again, we're comparing, we have this choice between re-electing Governor Pritzker or making a change, going a new direction in Illinois, and I think we need to go a new direction.
Are Illinois Republicans at all concerned about the election outcome in Kansas last week on abortion?
No, I think, you know, Illinois is Illinois. Illinois voters, you know, we're talking about, again, some of the things that what Illinois Republicans have fought for, fair maps, term limits, rejecting graduated tax. These are things that have widespread bipartisan support. These are the kind of things we're going to fight for and build a majority coalition around.
The Democrats are definitely putting that on the table, on the ballot. They've come right out and said Roe v. Wade is on the ballot.
Oh, it's not on the ballot in Illinois.
And Tim, can we have your response to Bailey's comments about the Holocaust as well?
Yeah, no, I agree with Representative Demmer. I mean, there's no place for talking about the Holocaust in that kind of setting. I think people have to really watch their words on things like this. Obviously, Senator Bailey apologized for it. I think he's apologized multiple times for it. And you know, let's move on. I think Senator Bailey's going to run a very strong campaign. He's got broad support, obviously, across the Republican spectrum in Illinois. You've seen Leader Durkin, Leader McConkey. You've seen Don Tracy, our state party chair, all have meetings with him. And you know, our whole goal is defeating Mike Frerichs, defeating J.B. Pritzker, and in the House, getting 60 seats so Jim Durkin can hold the gavel. That's what we're going to do across the state going into the election in November.
And while you both are here in Springfield, obviously there were talks about the special session, but nothing ever came together. Would you like to see lawmakers come back to address a multitude of issues? I mean, not just talking about inflation that's here, but I know there was discussions about gun control. Obviously, abortion issues were brought up, and there's not a session expected till way later than many hope to see. Would you like lawmakers to be back here right now addressing anything?
Well, I'll speak because I know Representative Butler always encourages more nights in Springfield hotels and visitors to come to Springfield, so he's always in favor of bringing folks back. But let me just say, let me give you another example of one of the issues that we should be working on right now. That's our unemployment debt. This is a very real concern as we're heading into a recession, as we expect that unemployment may increase. The Democrats left a $1.8 billion debt in the unemployment fund. On January 1st, what happens? The tax is raised on every job in Illinois and benefits are cut for every worker in Illinois. That's the last thing you want to have happen during a recession. We should take head on, especially an issue like that has a looming deadline that's just around the corner. Thank you all.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.